of this tremendous complex and a marvellous sporting field for the youth of Newbridge Town. It's taken a long time and a lot of hard work over the years to develop such a complex at such a rough time with various needs so hard to come by, and I think it is a privilege for me as, well, I'm nearly a citizen of Newbridge now, but been in the opposition camp for so many years, it's a privilege for me to be asked to do the honours here this afternoon and invite these distinguished guests. First of all, I would like to introduce a man who's been associated with the club since its origin, and that is a man who has played in the early days and gave his all on the pitch, and I think he'd be especially privileged to give a few words to you now. He is the chairman of Newbridge Town, Jimmy Fagan.
Very much, Dessie. I asked Jimmy actually to write out a few words for me, and he came up with this. So I may read it out now.
Well done, Jim.
Jimmy says I have a bad memory. Reverend Fathers, Minister, Senator, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure as chairman of Newbridge Town Football Club to welcome you all here today on this very special occasion in the history of our club. Today is the culmination of 16 years' hard work that sees the fulfilment of all our dreams. There are so many people I would like to thank individually, but the list is endless. To those that I do not mention, I simply say thank you. I would like to start by thanking the Minister, Mr. Alan Dukes, for accepting our invitation to open our new grounds and complex at the 11th hour. We are delighted and honoured to have the Minister for Finance here today to perform the opening ceremony. To Mr. John Farrell, the President of the Leinster Junior League, for all his help and assistance he has given us since our formation. To Mr. Louis Kilcoyne for accepting our invitation to play in the official opening game. We hope the Shamrock Rovers team and officials enjoyed their first visit to Newbridge. Some months ago we first thought of the day and considered Shamrock Rovers to be all that is best in Irish football. And that if we could have them, it would be the icing on the cake. Today is a great day in the relatively short history of the Newbridge Town Football Club, as we are very proud to be opening our new ground and clubhouse. However, it is a day tinged with sadness when we recall that two great friends, Mick and Barty O'Brien, who passed away so tragically during the year, will not be with us. Following the opening ceremony, we will be unveiling a plaque down at the gate to honour the memory of Mick and Barty. I would like to trail the sequence of events from the time we decided to purchase our new ground to the present day and thank the various people involved. First of all, to John Coughlin, who sold us the idea of a bond system to raise money. That's a £100 bond from 200 people. We have invited each of the bondholders today, and we will always recognise the importance of their generosity, without which we would not be here today. This finance has allowed us to purchase the ground in the first place. The next step was the levelling and seeding. To Kevin Manelli and Tom Bryan, we would say a special thanks to you for all the work which you did at a very special cost. To John White and Frank Donnelly and Tosh Sheehy of Anco Training College, Tala, for the piping and drainage. Here again, Kevin Manelli negotiated the purchase price of the pipes, and we would thank him there again. To Peter Thorne of Kildare County Council for the hundreds of loads of clay and topsoil which was transported to Curry from the Curra bypass, and I would have to say that it was literally hundreds of loads of topsoil. To Mr. Paddy Gleeson for his professional advice in the raising of the grass and the drainage that was required for that. It was this time last year when we started the development of the works here, and Mr. Paddy Kelly of Yellow Bins did a fantastic amount of work at a very nominal rate. To Anco Community Youth Training Programme, management team, and Toshi and Joe McGrath for all their work and help and assistance. And the trainees and craftsmen displayed a great sense of commitment and proved the value of this programme. John Walsh had been a revelation and contributed enormously to having the whole show ready on time. and had the unenviable task of filling Mick Egan's place. To all our creditors and suppliers of material, we say thank you for being so patient with us. To our sponsors and for the advertisements in the Leader and the Match programme, we say a very special thank you. I'm not forgetting all our own members, supporters, draw promoters and contributors since we embarked on our major fundraising in 1981. I would like to thank my fellow committee members who have met twice weekly for the past 8 to 10 weeks, and in some cases burned the midnight oil, and I would have to say it was all worthwhile at the end of the day. To all other clubs who have assisted us, and in particular Mr. Ray Lopeman of Sarsfield's Gaelic Football Club, we indeed welcome Sarsfield's Gaelic Football Club offer of cutting the grass and supply of tables and chairs. I would like to think that this is the beginning of a new era of cooperation. A special word of praise must go to Tom Gordon and the Parks Department of Kildare County Council for all the shrubs and especially the memorial down at the gate. And last but not least, Mr. Michael Nolan and Mr. Michael Cunningham, who are looking after the catering and refreshments for the week. Thank you. There was one person I forgot actually, Mr. Charlie Cahill of the Leinster Football Association. I thank him for coming today.
And we also have apologies from Mr. Casey and Mr. O'Driscoll, who are obviously very much tied up, but I think you'll find that soccer in the country is well represented. Next is a man who has done most for junior football in Ireland over the years, a fantastic man, and served as president of the FAI, which was due reward for the man's efforts in junior football. He is, of course, Mr. John Farrell.
Reverend Father, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today to me is an achievement above and beyond the ordinary imagination. While I was speaking to people in the complex inside, one man came to me and he said, "John, you never thought you'd see this day." And I called it back and I said, "I did, because I have visions too, but unfortunately I find it hard to put them into effect. And when I think of what President Kennedy said, some men dream and wonder why, and other men dream and say, why not? And I think that message should be echoed throughout the world, irrespective of what game we play or what code we have. But today I must compliment Newbridge Town Football Club and all the people in Newbridge who have supported them throughout the years. 1969 was a bad year for Ireland. It was another bad point in the history of our little country, our great country. But it also had its bright spot because it was the formation of Newbridge Town. And throughout the years, I have been closely aligned with them because I knew their visions and I knew what they wanted to achieve. And I had no doubt that they would achieve it, let me tell you that. And there are about another 10 or 12 clubs throughout the province of Leinster who will be having this day too. And I think the country, the government and the people responsible for running our country should realise that without these people, the facilities and the amenities that's provided for our young people, things would be a lot worse than they are today. And God knows they are bad. But I think somebody used the phrase there a moment ago, a new era. I hope it is. I hope it will be an example to people. And it will show people that something can be achieved if you try hard enough and work hard enough. But above all, those people who do that work need the assistance financially, they need the assistance theoretically, they need the assistance in every way to achieve it. And I think that it's our responsibility, those who are given the privilege of leading, irrespective of what sphere we are leading in, it's up to us to see that they get it. I could go on and on. I think it would be just gilding the lily, because I think that the people here have proved, and to look around, and the fact that Shamrock Rovers have even acquiesced to come down here today, and everybody has been so willing to help. All I can say is my sincere thanks to those who have done this. may they not be forgotten, and that those who are privileged to come onto them and will have the easiest task of maintaining it will remember the work that those people done. And the greatest tribute they can do to those people is to improve and maintain a magnificent facility. My sincere thanks once again to Newbridge Town Football Club, to the people of Newbridge. And I can assure you that while I'm around, they will always count on my help. It's always a privilege, and I mean a privilege, to be asked to help. So again, thank you very much, everybody concerned. Thank you.
I'm sure he could be forgiven for forgetting Mr. Cahill, but we won't miss him. We'll ask Mr. Charlie Cahill, President of the LFA, to say a few words.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Minister, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, may I, on behalf of the LFA, offer my sincere congratulations to Newbridge Town on this great day. And just to reassure Newbridge Town that they are one of many clubs involved in this great organisation of Leinster Football Association. One has got to realise and consider that every weekend during the soccer season there's close on 35 to 40,000 people involved in this great game of sport. And Newbridge Town is one of that particular gathering. And as John Farrell has said there's so many people involved in this great game. We sincerely hope that somebody, the government, will take up the gauntlet and help these particular clubs to achieve their particular aims. You know, there's so many people to thank behind the scenes, and I would like to, name stopping can be very dangerous. I would like to thank all those connected with Newbridge Town for this great day. It's fantastic to see that what voluntary work can do and what cooperation can do. And as I say, even with the GAA, they've come along to help out as well. I think this is a tremendous thing. But Alan Dukes is behind me here, and I sincerely hope he puts his hand in his pocket, because Newbridge Town could do it. And I would ask Alan if there's anything he can do, not only for Newbridge Town, but to do anything for the association. I'd be very grateful, because I have to say that the FAI is not in a position to finance any particular organisation, but hopefully Alan Dukes will spread his weight and get the due reward. May I sincerely once again thank all concerned with Newbridge Town, and I hope that the locals will enjoy themselves for many, many years to come, because Newbridge Town, the followers, you have something to be proud of. Many, many thanks indeed. Thank you.
Our next people now to introduce are the men of the cloth, Father Newman and Canon Healy, to bless the complex and ground. Let us first of all give glory and praise to our Heavenly Father. All glory and praise are yours, Heavenly Father. We give you thanks for calling us to be your people, and for giving us your Son as our Lord, and your Spirit to guide our lives and our prayer. Bless us as we gather together today, and open our hearts to the action of your Holy Spirit. Teach us to pray with Jesus, and to give you glory each day. Father, we praise you through Christ your Son, in the love and unity of your Spirit, now and always and forever. Amen. We didn't know we were going to have CIE in the opposition.
St. Paul has a few words to say from one of his epistles that might be suitable for today. He says, all the runners at the stadium are trying to win, but only one of them gets the prize. You must run in the same way, meaning to win. All the fighters at the games go into strict training. They do this just to win a wreath that will wither away, but we do it for a wreath that will never wither. That is how I run, intent on winning. That is how I fight, not beating the air. I treat my body hard and make it obey me. For having been an announcer myself, I should not want to be disqualified.
A Gospel reading from the 5th chapter of the Gospel according to St. Matthew, part of our Lord's Sermon on the Mount. Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth, but if salt becomes tasteless, what can make it salty again? It is good for nothing and can only be thrown out to be trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hilltop cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp to put it under a tub. They put it on the lampstand where it shines for everyone in the house. In the same way your light must shine in the sight of men, so that, seeing your good works, they may give the praise to your Father in heaven.
With a joint prayer of blessing, let us ask God to bless this clubhouse and grounds. Loving Father, we praise you for your glory. Look on us with love as we gather here today. Bless this building which we now dedicate to the service of this community. Bless your people as they use this centre. Bring your peace and joy into their lives and fill them with your blessings. Father, we give you thanks and praise forever and ever.
I would now like to introduce the Minister for Finance, Mr. Alan Dukes.
Mr. Chairman, Reverend Father, Ken and Heaney, fellow guests, ladies and gentlemen, this day is, I think, to coin a phrase, a really great day for Newbridge, not just for Newbridge Town Football Club, but for Newbridge Town taken all together. This club, these premises, and this pitch are here for the people of Newbridge generally, to be used and enjoyed by them, whether they're players who are part of the club, whether they're simply spectators, or whether they're people, and there are many people in our community who want to see the young people of our community given the opportunity to develop themselves physically and socially, as can be done by being involved in a sport like soccer, since we're here today with Newbridge Football Club. Sport plays an enormously important part in the life of any community. And I think that our thanks, our most sincere thanks, are due to all of those people who work so hard in providing sporting facilities and opportunities for our young people. And that applies particularly here to all of those who over the years have been active in founding, developing and running Newbridge Town Football Club. Many of you know the kind of dedication that goes into that. Many of you know how much work goes into preparing a team for a match, how much work goes into looking at youngsters and finding out how best they can be developed for the game that they want to play. And of course we all know all of the other things that go together with a sport of this kind. Because of course it's not the game you play on the pitch that is the sum total of a club's life. It's the social bonds, the friendship, the being together that's part of a club, that are almost as important as the game itself, that really count. And I know that parents here, whose children are members of this club, who've been involved in the club, will know just exactly what I'm talking about. This is
not just healthy physical activity, it's social and cultural development for the people involved. And those are some of the reasons why this is such an important event for the club and for the whole town. This kind of occasion is one where I suppose people take the opportunity to twist the arm of a politician who happens to be there, and it's fair game for that. I'm happy to say, of course, that I did get there a little before you, and I'm very glad that it was possible to provide a grant of £22,000 under the Department of Labour Capital Project Scheme in order to assist this club. It's for that very reason that scheme of grants has been in existence for a number of years, so that we can give that extra little push to communities that have decided themselves to help themselves and who are going to go ahead with the job anyway, but who will do a better job if they get that bit of assistance. I think that is the real value of this thing. And as you know, the ANCO Community Youth Training Project was involved here also, which is another aspect of the value of a project like this to the community, because there are youngsters who've gained experience and training through being involved in the construction of this project. There are also people, if they set their minds to it, and I include myself among those, who, in looking at what was involved in this project, would be able to learn a fairly useful lesson in the value of application and in the ingenuity that can be applied. I'm not going to go on at length about the various technical problems of one kind or another that had to be met and overcome in preparing the playing pitch here from the site that you knew as it was a few years ago, which I suppose if you looked at it in its original condition, you would never believe could one day become the fine football pitch that we have. You wouldn't believe the complexity of the waterworks underneath that, and of the job that's had to be done to make sure that they stay in proper functioning order. The people who play on that pitch will be playing on good playing ground because of all this engineering mystery that goes on underneath. If you look then at what was involved, as I said, in just making the site level as it is, you know, I would hate to have the job of planning all that out, but we have people in the community who can do it, and Newbridge Town Football Club is fortunate that there are many people in this community who are prepared to lend their own experience and expertise willingly, at some cost to themselves and at very little personal reward to themselves. Their reward is to see the pitch looking as it is today, with the clubhouse built there, a magnificent premises, I must say, and be able to look forward to the development, the further development of this club, happy in the knowledge that they have made their own contribution. So with that, Mr. Chairman, it gives me very great pleasure to declare this new pitch and clubhouse officially open. Queen Gopra Erin Club, Officer Gahenia, Dessie Scahill.
I'd like to ask the Minister to perform just one more little exercise, and that is to just put the tape on the way into the complex.
When you're ready. Oh. Please just get you.
Sharp enough. Are we ready now?
No, just hold it. Hold it for a second, please. Okay. Sound. There we go.
Exercise now takes us to the memorial plaques over at the entrance near the gate to two of the men who would dearly have loved to have been here, part of today's ceremony. But I'm sure they are. They're in the memories of their families and their friends and the committee who have worked with them over the last 16 years until, unfortunately, they passed away. Mick Egan and Barty O'Brien.
Ollie.
Fingers crossed, Kevin. Will it work? Did you put the weight on? Worked it.
Hold it, right.
Give it a run. Just give it a bit of room.
Perhaps before the Declan bid, we'd all join just sing the Lord's Prayer together to repose their souls. Our Father,
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord. May they rest in peace, and their souls, the souls of all the faithful departed, rest in God, rest in peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the teams for today. First, the visitors, Shamrock Rovers. Number 1, Declan Murray. Number 2, Neville Steedman. Number 3, John Cody. Number 4, Kevin Brady. Number 5, Jacko McDonogh. Number 6, Tim O'Driscoll. Number 7, Robert Murray. Number 8, Paul Doolin. Number 9, Mick Byrne. Number 10, Fran Hitchcock. And number 11, Jerry Scully. And the home team, Newbridge Town. Number 1, Carey Glynn. Number 2, Clancy, Maguire, and Cahill. Thank you. Cody, please come to the main door, please. Also, business Cahill, please come to the main door, please.
Jacko. Hello, Jody. Come on, Take him on. Unlucky. there, Jacko. Let's stay up in there, half. Come on. Up again, Kevin. Never get up there, whatever. Let's play the halfway line. under a bit more midfield, yeah? Put under a bit more. Come on, Tom. Keep getting on it then there. Get on it as much as you can, yeah? Continue the same as you. Get on it as much as you can. Take it again, Dick. Put it up. Stay on it. Get on it again. Everything's going wrong. What's the roll inside? Inside! Devin! Devin! Push them, that's it. Go. Cody. Come on, Newbridge. Neville, come on, Neville! Neville! Hold it! Hey, Robbie! Oh, kill him! Away! He's ready, Jack, yeah! Robbie, come on! All right, Jack, let's just keep playing. Jody, go get Kevin. Come on in. Name's on the wall, name on. Take it down. Kevin. Come on. Thank you.